Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy, the Kryptonian, saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 358. And this chapter continues the flashbacks. It opens up. We find out that apparently Cuddy Clam has died. We see Iceberg's reaction. And I thought that that was very good to show just how he had the reaction on his face. And you had the panel saying that he was the last of the apprentices of Tom who was still alive. And the reason why I thought that that was significant is during that time period where he had no contact with Franky, he's carrying this huge burden upon him. And I thought that that was key because it explains a lot about his character from when we first meet him, as well as to dive further into his psyche. I can only imagine the emotional toll that was on him, given everything that had happened leading up to that moment, and knowing that he's got to keep those plans with him that Tom entrusted him with. And just knowing that as he finally meets Franky again, he's got all of these emotions winding up, building inside of him. Probably, to borrow a cliche, it's probably like a whirlwind of emotions just sweeping through inside of him. And I thought that that was interesting because one of the things that Oda's doing here is he's simultaneously fleshing out Franky while also showing that Franky and Tom, that bond that they were building through the flashbacks where you saw them working side by side, even though they haven't been together for a while, it's still just as strong as ever. And one of the things that you have to remember about people is, especially if you guys are going to write dialogue or anything, I know a couple of you guys said that you like to write. So one thing to keep in mind is a lot of times people just don't come out and say exactly what they're thinking, okay? Sometimes it takes people a while to build up to what they're actually feeling. And you have this back and forth between Franky and Iceberg, and this is right after Iceberg is, announced as one of the people who might be made mayor. And I thought that that was key because what we're seeing is Iceberg is working through his emotions where he's like, look, these are the plans. It's almost as if he's saying, I've carried this burden for 4 years now. It's draining on me, and this is your turn. You take this. I thought that's what he was saying at that point. And I like how it's just kind of passing on from one disciple to another, to, again, borrow another cliche. It's like he's passing on the torch. So that was cool, man. I like seeing that, and I like how eventually one of the things that we see is Franky finally breaks through and he says, look, man, we haven't changed. We always go back and forth. We get into these shouting matches. Some things never change, do they? And that's when Iceberg just breaks down into tears. And he's like, look, you lovable dumbass, I'm glad you're still alive. And this is after he tells him to leave the island. I thought that was so key because it just... for me, it's a very personal thing. I've got a pair of friends named Brian and Vincent, right? And we could go a long time without actually, hanging out. There'll be a long time between us talking with conversations and everything, but we pick up right where we left off. There's not any awkward silences or anything, and it's because those two are like brothers to me. And I know the feelings, reciprocated backwards, with them, towards me. And that's what you see with Franky and Iceberg. They pick right back up. That was very beautiful. One of the things I say about Ichiro Oda is when it comes to his secondary characters, yeah, all of them have like a little sob backstory and, super tragic, but also he develops them in a way to where they might only be around for 30 chapters, 40, but you get this real sense that you know who they are. You can go through all of these secondary characters. I won't say all of them. You can go through most of them. And certainly all the ones who have a significant role in the story, or at least in the arc that they're taking place, you could list out 3 or 4 things about them that make them different as characters. You could list out their wants, their hopes, dreams, desires, what makes them tick. And that's very good writing, especially when you look at the fact that these chapters are like 15 to 19 pages. And so he's getting a lot of information passed down to the readers in a very short amount of time. So I thought that was pretty cool, man. Just, appreciating that from a craft perspective. I thought that was pretty good. I also like how, once again, we're getting more, Nico Robin stuff thrown in, where he's like, yeah, we got that Nico Robin woman out there that Tom was really worried about. You know, we just have to hope that she can't look at these plans and put together the weapon. I thought that was pretty cool as well, man, because once again, we're seeing more. And I thought that was definitely beautiful because Oda is still dropping the breadcrumbs like Nico Robin's part in this story. It isn't over yet. Just keep that in mind, guys. Like, I'm not saying me telling you guys that. I'm saying that's what Oda's saying to the reader. Like, I'm going to come back around to Nico Robin. I'm going to tie all this stuff up. I'm going to put a nice bow on it. But I'm just going to throw it back out there so you guys know that Robin is integral to this story. So I thought that was cool. Now, the other thing is, after we get brought back out of the flashback, Franky, he's holding down on it, right? You know, he's like, man, I don't have a comeback to that, you know. And I thought that just the fact that, you know, Franky, even though through all the times he's been in the Water 7 present time, he's kind of had like a little quips and, you know, been a little quirky and everything, showed out some tough love. He showed various layers to his character, various sides to his character. The fact that he's at this point where he's like, I better not press this any further. Let me wait and see where this is going. And that's when we get the revelation that they're going to take him and put him on trial. And I thought that that's very interesting because it's like they're kind of saying, like, again, symbolically, it's kind of like they're saying, or Oda's saying, Iceberg passed on the burden onto you, right? And you're the apprentice. The master went on trial. Now he's got to go on trial. And it's because he's the one that had everything passed on to. You know, Iceberg, we know Chopper saved him, but Iceberg, you know, hey, he already paid his dues. They think he's pretty much dead at this point. So and again, it's more parallels because one apprentice was left for dead. Now this one's left for dead. One apprentice had to fix himself up, turn himself into a cyborg, and now Iceberg is going to be patched back up by the townspeople. It's nice that a lot of parallels in this. Like, this was good. Like, that's what I mean. Oda does a lot within the confines of these chapters that you have to sit back and just appreciate it sometimes. So I like that. I like how Usopp had his moment where Usopp, you know, started to grow a pair of balls and kind of backed off a little bit. But, you know, Usopp's made himself known. And you had the little comedy moment where, you know, Spandam is, you know, revealed himself. He's gone from CP5 to leader or the director of CP9. And Franky goes, Spanda! Pretty funny. And I thought that the reason why it was funny because you got the older panda. And I don't know if that was like a little me reading it too much into that. But I thought that that was pretty cool. Excuse me, guys. Throat's getting scratchy. But one other thing that I thought was pretty cool is the fact that one of the first things Chopper sees when he gets out and he's got, I want to say it was Paulie and Iceberg, is he sees Nami. And the doctor in him just comes all the way out. He's just like, oh my God, I have to save Nami. And it's just like, dude, you're banged the fuck up yourself. Take care of yourself first. I thought that just with those few little panels with Chopper in that one line, it just did a lot for his character. You know, it shows that this kid, and that's what he is, you know, Chopper, I can't remember his age. I do know he's on the younger side. You know, this kid, Chopper, is very caring by nature. And it's very fitting to me that he's carrying those two, and then he wants to go to Nami and fix up Nami because it's just like a doctor never stops taking care of people, or a teacher never stops teaching people. They always look for, let's say some experience, they always look for little teaching moments, you know, stuff that you wouldn't expect to connect. They try to find different ways to make you see things from a different perspective. And so I like how Chopper's just like, I'm gonna treat everybody else and then I'll worry about myself, and then collapses to the ground. And the townspeople are like, we have to take care of Iceberg, but we got to take care of this reindeer too. This reindeer saved him. And that's where I'm going to leave off, guys. I thought that this was a pretty good chapter. My chapter question for you guys is, what did you think about the way that I kind of framed Iceberg and Franky kind of having parallels, and just that whole thing there? Did you think I was reading too much into that? And if you had to reach back from the other 357 chapters in this series so far, what relationship would you say had the best parallels between each other? Or do you think that there haven't been enough, or there hasn't been enough strong stuff laid, a strong enough foundation laid down to even make that claim? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Thank you for watching, guys.